Hi there. We have with us today Rick Falk, who is the CEO of Locus Robotics. Thank you so much for joining us. Wanted to jump into tariffs and manufacturing. We are in a time of uncertainty. I think that's easy to say. One day tech tariffs are on, the next they're off. So there's a lot of uncertainty in manufacturing and in automation. Wanted to get your thoughts on how organizations in manufacturing who want to automate can approach the current environment.
Well, you're right. Uncertainty is the word of the day, I guess, including the word of today. There's a couple things I think that are important. One is understanding and emphasizing ROI. Um, that's number one. As long as there's ROI with a project, typically that's a big step in the right direction. Flexibility is unbelievably important. With the changing dynamics that happen, it seems almost hourly and daily. Promoting flexibility, understanding flexibility when doing a project is really, really important. And I think understanding and working with partners to be not just a vendor, but to be a strategic advisor and consultant when looking at automation solutions and that sort of thing. And as part of that, really shifting the conversation between a CapEx expenditure and a resilient expenditure. Like, we saw robots on a RaaS basis, robots as a service, and being able to flex up and flex down in times of uncertainty is unbelievably important. And in these times of uncertainty, I don't think tariffs are just a stop sign. I think it's a turn signal. And really, it's a don't wait and stop for the road to clear, but make a decision.
Yeah, and on that path, where should people who are looking to automate their organizations, where should they be turning? What are some quick and easy ways that they can scale their automation plans, even given this uncertain environment?
Well, a couple things. The first thing I think for any organization is to start small and then scale. Organizations that jump in and try to automate every single process they have can come with problems and complexity and frankly mistakes. So start small, but figure out how to scale smartly is really important. The other thing that I think is important in any of these models is to do things what we call robots as a service, do it on a RaaS basis, not on a CapEx basis. And that way you can scale up, you can scale down. And frankly, if you make mistakes, you can adjust as opposed to writing a big CapEx check, which presents problems. I think it's important to focus on speed, not perfection, the speed to value. In times of uncertainty, figuring out how to get something done quickly. May not be perfect. You may not have all the data, but figuring out how to do it quickly is important. And I think the way to look at it is automation is not really a capital decision. It's really a strategic insurance policy. And that's how organizations should really think about it today.
Absolutely. Just briefly, kind of in a bullet format, what are three key ways that organizations can scale in the current environment?
Well, the smartest way really is to not look at automation like concrete, look at it as Legos, if you will. Start with a certain infrastructure and then expand it. And having that good foundation with Legos, if you will, and then be able to expand on top of that is really important. And I think the most important thing is act. The time really is now to do something. Building for agility, building for change is important, and really thinking beyond borders. Smart organizations today are really thinking beyond the borders that they live in today, but how they make decisions that'll cross borders, which are going to happen over time. I think the winners are those that do asset light, flexible models. Those are the ones that they're really going to win. And tariffs are going to come and they're going to go, but labor shortages, customer expectations, cost pressures, they're here to stay. And those aren't going to go away. They aren't going to change. I think the real risk in in automation is doing nothing while your competitors act and doing something. That's the biggest risk. And a lot of organizations in these times sort of pull in and don't do anything, and their competitors act and do things, and that's the biggest risk.
Hi, we're here with James Taylor from OnRobot, and today we're going to be talking about automation and tariffs. Um, so thank you so much for joining me and
Mhm.
chatting a little bit about some of the uncertainty that's going on with tariffs in the United States, and
Yep.
particularly in manufacturing
Mhm.
and some organizations that might want to automate. Wanted to get your insights into um, kind of how automation innovators like OnRobot might address some of their clients who are feeling apprehensive about the current tariff environment and the uncertainty that they're facing.
Right.
Do you have some sort of guidance for how, you might ease someone's fears if they're looking to automate their operations, but they're not sure what what the tariff environment is like?
Right. Yeah. So obviously the tariffs were, let's say a surprise for a lot of us. So what on robot, what we did immediately, we were kind of preparing for it, anticipating maybe something coming. So what we did immediately is offset through discount to our customers in the US. So the first round was a bit of a higher, labeled the reciprocal tariffs. We had a higher discount. And then when the US government decided to pause the reciprocal tariffs, then have a baseline of 10%, we adjusted the discount. So it's keeping us on our toes, so to speak, but we are at least trying to do our part in helping our partners plan. We know partners, our distributors or integrators already have projects out, already have projects quoted, they're delivering, and when when a tariff policy changes, when things are en route, it makes things a little bit difficult. So we are trying to do that. I know that in talking with our partners, a lot of them are finding this challenging to deal with. It's not just on robot equipment; it's a lot of equipment that they're using in solutions. And so I know there are some companies that are trying to support in that way. But at least from OnRobot standpoint, we're doing what we can and trying to at least say, hey, the next 3 months or 90 days, we have some certainty, at least hopefully, according to what the government has announced. So that will hopefully be a window that we can execute and implement on some projects that we have already have kind of in the bag or in the backlog. So we're encouraging our partners to look at the next 90 days, or I guess remaining of those 90-day pause, as a way to say, okay, at least we know what we have for the next 3 months. Let's try to do as much as possible in that period of time. And then, of course, we don't control the government policy, but as they adjust, we will adjust as well.
Absolutely. For companies who are in this environment and they're looking to automate, but maybe they haven't solidified their automation plans, are there quick and easy ways for them to do so in the current environment? Are
I
there things that they can do to kind of scale?
Yeah, I mean, I actually, even without tariffs, my advice to companies looking to scale is always start simple. I think in our industry, there tends to be a desire to tackle big things first. And while sometimes that's appropriate, I think it leads us to overlook a lot of the simple things that we can do. And I think that resonates a lot more with SMEs, so small and medium-sized enterprises. They don't have huge budgets and huge staff. So encouraging people to take a look at the smaller processes, the smaller opportunities. And I think when you add them up, they actually are quite meaningful. Maybe it's just one application. It's just one simple robot cell with a gripper doing a simple pick and place. It doesn't necessarily need to be a full complete automated line. And I think that's a smart way to approach automation in general, regardless of tariffs. So, until companies that have let's say a lengthy experience in history doing automation, maybe they can tackle the bigger ones. But for a lot of us, there's so much low-hanging fruit that can be done with simple steps. So it doesn't have to be the big swing. We can do a lot of small stuff. And I think with tariffs happening right now, small stuff still makes sense because we still, at a high level, we still need automation. We still need to produce. We still need to fulfill orders for customers. Consumers are still buying, and all of the economic drivers that are pushing for automation, decreasing workforce, people not wanting to do certain types of jobs. That's still here. So we still need to move forward.
Absolutely. Could you give me maybe a couple of examples of some of that low-hanging fruit that organizations can really kind of capitalize on to automate their operations, in the current environment?
Yeah, I mean, actually, if you look at two really common manual applications in factories around the U.S. are palletizing and CNC machine tending. And those are still manual and still short of labor. A lot of companies are struggling to do it. A lot of companies are having to use extra people who are pulled off of their normal job to run over and do something, and or they just don't have it, and it causes delays and causes problems. And so I think the task of setting up a palletizer or a CNC machine tending cell will that's kind of a low-hanging fruit. That's a simple automation cell. It doesn't need to be 20 lines. It can just be one line. On Robot, we are offering solutions that are meant to be simple and easy to set up like that. Not always do automation solutions have to be really complicated. So I think in the US right now, companies are still producing. We still have production going on. They still need to be put in boxes, put on pallets, shipped around the country. And there's not enough people to do that. So that to me is an easy way. There's still machine parts being machined or parts being machined. And there's not enough people to do it. So I think that's probably two good examples of easy places to start.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Well, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time today, and this was really helpful and insightful. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah,